Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Joanne Powell Show. I am Joanne. We are broadcasting live worldwide, coming to you from Hollywood at the corner of Hollywood and Vine. Welcome to the Joanne Powell Show on the WCOBM.com network. Today, we are taking a look at gun violence and how it has been now deemed an epidemic in America. Basically, in 1 year, thousands of people are killed or injured as a result of gun violence. And according to the Brady campaign to prevent gun violence, every day in the United States, nearly 300 people are shot from murders, suicide attempts. We also have accidental shootings and police intervention. And every day in America, 90 people die from gun violence, and more than 200 people are either shot and or survive their shootings. So join us today to talk about that is emergency medicine physician, Dr. Wayne Moore from Nashville. He is he works in the Nashville General Hospital, and you also started your own urgent care clinic, the Moore Life Urgent Care Clinic in Gallatin.
That's right.
In Tennessee, right outside of Nashville.
Definitely.
And you're actually in town for the National Medical Association conference that's going on in Los Angeles. So let's get right to right into it. We hear a lot about shootings in America. We have the active shooter, we have murder suicides, you have mass shootings. I mean, it's becoming so commonplace that it's not as shocking as it was at one time. So when you think about epidemics, you think about contagious diseases. So how does gun violence become an epidemic?
Well, that's a very interesting point, Joanne. My specialty, emergency medicine, started back in the 60s, and the National Academy of Sciences did a historic white paper. And they looked at accident, and the title of the paper was called Accidental Death and Disability, the Neglected Disease of Modern Society. And they actually looked at gun violence, unintentional or intentional, and found that most emergency departments were ill prepared to deal with the epidemic of gun violence. So that's my specialty of emergency medicine, came out of the inability of hospitals to actively treat gun violence. We actually found out that the battlefields of Vietnam, you had a better chance of survival from a gunshot wound there than you did on the streets of the United States.
Okay.
So my residency training kind of focused on that. And what we found out during our residency training is that the number one cause of death from 0 to 25 in many cities is deaths due to gun violence. And we often hear about heart disease and that kind of thing. And those surely are large causes of mortality, but they usually occur in 50 and above. So what we're looking at is the fruit of our youth and our young generation are becoming victims of this gun violence. And so that's what we want to target.
So what is causing that? Because I know we have a lot of violence on TV. You've got video games. Does that contribute to that? Or because, my kids are like, it's not bothering me. It's not affected, because it just kind of numbs you to the violence, and it makes it you not as shocked with things happening.
I have not seen a pure linkage to those video games. But what I can tell you, that there are certain linkages. Number one is having a gun in the home.
Okay.
That simply causes a large amount of unintentional injuries or accidents and injuries when guns are not locked up in homes with children. So access to those guns. The prevalence of guns on the streets are a number of big risk factors without background checks. That is there's a huge linkage toward that. So we're looking at the prevalence of guns, illegal guns on the street, and unrestricted access to guns in homes.
Because a lot of people are like, okay, are you saying I can't have my gun? That's not what this is about. It's not about I guess keeping you from being able to exercise your Second Amendment right and everything. It's about how they're used and just being educated about guns and things like that.
It's about common sense gun safety. That's all we're talking about. I'm a gun owner myself, and I believe that citizens do have a right to bear arms, as our Second Amendment says, but it says with regulations. And I believe in regulations that a well-regulated militia or our National Guard should have guns, but also regulations on our citizens. What we found out is that the gun violence that we're seeing, the highest prevalence are felons that have guns, mental health patients that have access to guns, all sorts of people who everybody would say, no, they shouldn't have a gun. Those are the individuals that are causing the largest amount of gun crimes. And background checks would eliminate, there was a study in Minnesota that showed that, and Minnesota has background checks, that you would eliminate almost 70% of those guns if you had normal common sense background checks.
Interesting, because that's something that a lot of people are saying. It seems like a no-brainer, but they, the NRA, they have a very strong lobby. They don't want any type of controls or anything because they're concerned that if they start there, then it's going to go farther. But I think most people, Democrat and Republican, whatever your party affiliation, people want common sense type of legislation or something.
90% of all Republicans and Democrats agree that we should go through background checks. And the NRA has given out $27 million to politicians. They're buying politicians to sell guns, in forums where they can avoid background checks, like online, your Craigslist. You don't have to go through a background.
Or even gun shows.
Gun shows.
We're going to have to come back because we're running out of time. We're going to take a quick break, but I wanted to welcome two new advertisers. We have Oakwood University, which is a historical black university in Huntsville, Alabama. Yes, we're both alum from there. And also Woodland Craft Insurance. They are an insurer of high-performance boats. They can also take care of your personal and your business needs. You are watching the Joanne Powell Show. When we come back, we will talk more about how gun violence in America has become an epidemic. Stay tuned. Don't go away. Seize the Day Scuba for your best scuba experience above and below the sea. You'll find friendly staff, experienced PADI certified instructors, and state-of-the-art scuba equipment and gear. Join our dive club and we'll help you plan memorable scuba excursions. Immerse yourself. Seize the Day Scuba, serving Southern California. Call 949-220-0500 to create your scuba experience.
Are you a high school student thinking about going to college? Now's the time to get ready. Oakwood University will host Oakwood Live October 5th to 9th to give potential students a chance to experience life at Oakwood University. Oakwood Live is offered to high school seniors and potential transfer students. You could receive a $500 scholarship just for attending. Don't miss the excitement. Come see what Oakwood is all about. To register, visit oakwood.edu or call 256-726-7356.